Hi, my name is Anna, and I recently saw this video from Dimitri Harmon where he basically talks about how he makes videos to, I don't know, make himself smile. It's his outlet or something. I could definitely be wrong, but there's this quote from that video, and it basically says, "I don't smile through my pain, I smile with my pain." So I want to talk about my pain. I know that a lot of people deal with a lot worse, but I was recently diagnosed a couple months back with anxiety, depression, and OCD. I just want to talk about it. Maybe other people are going through it, and I just want to put that out there. So basically, to give you a background, once again, my name is Anna. I'm 20. I'm Brazilian, and I live in Jersey. So I feel like I've always had my diagnosis. So whenever I was 8, my mom had this friend, but she unfortunately passed away due to cancer. I was just very scared. I was scared of falling asleep because I was scared I was gonna die. I didn't understand much of anything at that point. Once again, I was 8, and it was like I had to put on perfume a certain amount of times in a certain way, otherwise I was gonna die, or like this bad thing was gonna happen. And that carried on for years and years and years. But I was like, okay, this is normal, like everyone deals with this, right? Whatever. So fast forward to whenever I was 17, I got in a really dark place. I was arguing with my dad a lot. I was also in a relationship, which the relationship itself was great. I was very insecure. And once again, I was at a very low point regarding my relationship with my dad. It was a recipe for disaster, basically. And I just remembered constantly being sad. But then, once again, things started getting better. And then comes 2016, and I have to go back to Brazil due to me getting my papers, which is a whole other story. So my dad tells me, Anna, you have to go back to Brazil to get your documentation. You're gonna go from ending of July to the very beginning of September. I was born in Brazil, and I came to the US when I was 5. And I hadn't gone back since because I was illegal. And this was right around the time when my senior year was gonna start, and it was supposed to be the most incredible year of my life. I went to a performing arts high school, the dream. I go, very, very upset because I had no interest in going. This was my first time away from both my parents, from everything that I had ever known. And I was out there trying to figure it out. I was with my family, but I didn't really know my family. I had never been around them. September comes, and still no word on my documentation on when it's gonna come out. And that's when it starts getting bad. And at this point, I'm binge eating. I'm eating nonstop, literally 24 hours a day. I want to be isolated. I am just crying every single day, all day. My aunt's like, Anna, you need to get up. You need to do something. This isn't good. But I was just like, no, I can't do anything. And at that point, I just felt like a number due to the whole process of getting my papers. And once again, my friends at this point were starting their senior year and doing everything, graduation, all of that, with me with the hopes of being there, but obviously I wasn't. And every month at that point, it's getting harder and harder. I'm like, I miss my friends, I miss my mom. I'm very close with my mom, so that was very, very hard. So whatever, I got out of a funk. I'm just like dealing with this at this point. I'm like, you can't do anything, you have to accept it. And then as soon as I start getting somewhat comfortable, there's this incident with my uncle at the time where he tried being inappropriate with me, and that was the only place in Brazil that I had felt safe. And so whenever that had happened, I didn't feel safe anymore. So, but I was fine, or at least I thought. So at this point, a year goes by. It's my sister's wedding. She's getting married. Still no word on the documentation. At this point, my friends have graduated high school. At this point, my friends had went to prom. And I'm just, it sucked. I saw my sister get married through FaceTime. That sucked. And then March 2018 comes around, and I finally get word, hey, you're going to Rio for your interview. I was like, fuck yeah, this is gonna be amazing. So my stepmom comes into the country. We traveled a little bit. It was fun. It was great. Loved it. Then she has to go back. And this is in April. And I'm like, fuck. Like, I just had the tiniest ounce of happiness, and now it's gone. Like, are you fucking kidding me? But whatever, she leaves. My interview's in May. And at this point, I'm just counting down the days. I go to my interview. It's great. I go back. I come back home in the beginning of June. And at this point, I'm like, finally, like, I'm okay. All of these mental things that I've been going through are done. Like, I'm fine. A month after, I realize I'm just not okay. I'm getting anxious over everything. I wake up every single day nauseous, overthinking every single thing in my life, with the urge to cry at every given point. And that's when I was like, I need help. So I go to a general doctor because of my stomach. And my general doctor basically says, you have chronic anxiety. And you also have gastritis. So it's like, okay, that's not bad. I started taking this medication he prescribed me, and everything started going good again. Once I finished the meds, same thing happened. I didn't even honestly have to finish the meds. It was just same thing. I would have these random spurs of the moments where I was just crying. I was just sad. I don't know how to explain it, but it was hard. So my mom sees this happening to me, and she basically says, I'm going to take you to my friend who's a psychologist, and we're going to see what she thinks. I speak to the psychologist, and she describes to me what's going on. So I tell her about the OCD, which I didn't know at the time that it was OCD. That was far off the last thing on my mind. But I tell her how I have to put everything in a specific way, otherwise this bad thing is going to happen. I have to do this a specific way, otherwise this is going to happen. And it's consistent. And it got to the point where I couldn't sleep. It got to the point where I was sleeping with my parents. Mind you, I'm 20. And so she referred me to a psychiatrist. She asked me a bunch of questions, and then she gives me the diagnosis. Anxiety, depression, OCD. Okay. So she prescribed me sertraline and hydroxyl. So after I start taking it, I start having more panic attacks. I was like, this isn't working. I remember this one specific day where I was just trying to harm myself in every single way. And what I mean by that is I'd go to the point where it hurt so bad, but I was like, I deserve this. I deserve this pain. And I would just cry, and they would ask me, what's wrong? And I'd say, I don't know. And then I'd have to take one of these, but even these weren't working. So I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Well, this last week was Christmas, and I got very suicidal. So all of my mental journey, whatever you want to call it, it's never gotten to the point where I got suicidal. Still learning to deal with that. I haven't done anything. I guess it happens. I guess it's part of the journey. And that's when I was like, I need to start taking better care of myself. I started surrounding myself with people that genuinely make me happy. I started doing things I actually like, just putting myself first, regardless of what that looks like to other people. Whether that means me sitting back and just watching a TV show, or I like being alone a lot. I can't be social that much because if I am, it drains me. Just doing little things for myself. Like, I got myself a diffuser and I put lavender oil in it every single night. I spray. That's just basically lavender oil and water. I swear by it. Putting on face mask almost every night. Spoiling myself, whether it be the cute new phone case, getting eyelash extensions. It's the littlest things that help me. I still most definitely have those attacks. I still most definitely do deal with the OCD, and the depression just smacks me like a motherfucker out of the blue, especially if I'm not occupying myself. I'm learning to deal with it every day. If anybody's watching this, mental health is extremely important, and you should really take care of yourself as much as you can. And if you know that things are getting bad for you, like, get help. Just talk about it. Talk about it as much as you can, whether that be with your friends, your family, yourself. All of those insecurities that I'm feeling, like that you're feeling, and all of those scenarios that your mind is creating, it's in your mind and it's not real. And it's just so important that you love yourself and you better yourself and put yourself first. It just sucks when you're feeling all alone and like no one understands you, but know that there's someone out there that does. There's people out there that care and that will listen. Just get help. I wouldn't say going to a psychiatrist only is the best bet. I highly recommend going to a psychologist and therapy. And breathe. Breathing is extremely important. These things can happen out of nowhere. Try to surround yourself with peace, love, and positivity. Listen to some good music. Surround yourself with good people. So, that's my story. I hope that helps somebody. I don't want anybody to feel pity for me. I'm working on trying to better it. Thank you for listening. Hopefully this helps out one person. Maybe feel like they're not alone. Please get help. That's it. So, goodbye.